Okay, let's get to work now. I really appreciate all those kind words, and notice how well they stayed within their time. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk for a lot longer. I got to say just at the outset that I know we need to talk frankly here, and one of the things I think that is really awful about politics is how much pandering takes place, and I just want to tell you that I'm just really tired of people who pander, so I'm just not going to do that anymore. But anyway, okay. Now that I have you on my side, let me just tell you what this election is really about. I mean, every 4 years or every 2 years or every year, you know, we get together and it's time to go out and try to get people to turn out and vote. And Leo's right, everybody's right. If we vote, if our side really turns out, that's usually good for our candidates. It's also really good for our democracy. But in this election, it's good for something else. It's actually good for the direction of our Commonwealth. This is not just a same old election. Every year you go out and you have a specific transactional, very narrow, in your mind maybe, interest in making sure that the things that you hold dear, the things that have made the steelworkers successful, you know, family sustaining jobs, the ability to organize, the ability to strike, the ability to do things that our ancestors just a few generations ago could never do, but things that have led to a strong middle class, strong families, strong communities. Those are things that you go out to do because that's what you've been doing every year. This year, I think we have a chance to do something even broader than that, and that is put what you do in those areas that makes your lives better, the lives of your family better. Make sure that you understand that when we do these things, when we support those policies, we're actually supporting policies that make our society work better. Okay? It's not just about you, it's about all of us. If we have a fair society, if we have an economy that does all the things that you've been working for all your lives, that's good for everybody. And I think we need to get some perspective on that. 2014 is a year to do that. Just look back. 40 years ago, if somebody had brought up something like right to work, they would have been laughed off the stage. No one would have even listened to them. But today, there are people who actually go on television, and they're not laughed off the stage. You know, we have little by little, gradually come to a point where the things that have actually made this society strong and great, the things that have made our economy really work, we've lost sight of those things. And this is an election where I think it's time to say, okay, we've had now a long run, not just in Pennsylvania, but throughout this country. We've had a long run of this unfairness. We've had a long run of being told that if we just sort of let the 1% do things, if we let the minimum wage stay down around, $7.25 an hour, that we get rid of all kinds of benefits, that's going to lead to some good outcomes. Well, now we've done that for a long time. It's not like we're saying, I don't agree with that, that's not good for my own self-interest. It's not. But we've had enough of this that we can look back and say, actually, that hasn't worked. You know, you hollow out our schools, and that really doesn't help our economy. It doesn't help anybody. It certainly doesn't help my children, but it doesn't help anybody else either. You know, we create this society where we have the supply side, all that kind of stuff. How's that worked out for us here in Pennsylvania? We're now 50th in job creation. You know, objectively, that has not worked out. So it's not just about you, it's about all of us. How about the fiscal responsibility that we were going to get from all this stuff, right? You know, they know how to manage things. We don't. Okay, be my guest. Well, we've just had 5 down ratings of our bond debt in Pennsylvania over the last 2 years. They can't manage. So what is it we've gotten from all this? We've conceded the ground, the high ground. We've said, okay, fairness evidently doesn't matter anymore. The real world is a dog-eat-dog, stab your neighbor in the back, just cut deals, sink or swim kind of thing. Well, what we found out is that doesn't work. So let's make 2014 a time where we're not just out working for what's good for the United Steelworkers membership. You are doing that. You got to do that. And you're not just working for specific policies that make a difference to members of organized labor. The right to strike, the right to organize, minimum wage, safety in the workplace. Those things actually matter to you as members. But in 2014, let's acknowledge that they matter for everybody. We're not going to have a strong economy. We are not. You need to be confident in what you're talking about. if we don't do these things, if we don't go back to this kind of a society, if we do not elevate fairness back to the place it should be for all of us, this economy's not going to work, the society's not going to work, our democracy's not going to work. So as you go out and you do the things that you're doing because Leo asked you to do it, or somebody in authority or your spouse asked you to do it, keep in mind that you're doing it for a better Pennsylvania. In 2014, we actually do have a chance to make things better for everybody, and you're not just working for yourself. Of course, I appreciate it, because if you do it in this election, it's going to make chances of my victory a lot better, but it is a really big deal. Now, let me just say one final thing. I think a number of you said this. The polls are looking pretty good, but the polls don't matter. As the losers always say, the only poll that matters is the one that takes place on Election Day. That's tomorrow. From 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., the polls are going to be open, and it's what happens between those hours that actually is going to make the difference. If we don't turn out, if you don't turn out, or you're not successful in getting your family and friends to turn out, if we can't engage the interest of the rest of Pennsylvania in understanding that this is about a bunch of big deals, big ideas, if we don't succeed in that, we are going to have another 4 years of what we've had over the last 4 years. And I don't think any of us want that. So let's go out and vote. Let's go out and get other people to vote. Go upstairs, get on those phones. If we do this, if we succeed, if we prevail tomorrow, we could really have a better Pennsylvania. Keep that in mind, and thank you so much for your support.